Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so chapter 16, Divine and Demoniac Natures. We're doing text 4. Dambho darpa bhimānaś krodhaḥ pāruṣyam evacha ajñānaṁ cābhijātasya pārtha sampadam āsurīm. Word for word, dambhaḥ, pride, darpaḥ, arrogance, abhimānaḥ, conceit, and krodhaḥ, anger, pāruṣyam, harshness, certainly, and ajñānam, ignorance, and abhijātasya, of one who is born of Pṛthā, O son of Pṛthā, sampadam, the qualities, āsurīm, demoniac nature. Translation and purport by His Very Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pṛthā. Please repeat. Pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demoniac nature, O son of Pṛthā. Purport. In this verse, the royal road to hell is described. The demoniac want to make a show of religion and advancement in spiritual science. Although they do not follow the principles, they are always arrogant or proud and possessing some type of education or so much wealth. They desire to be worshipped by others and demand respectability, although they do not command respect. Over trifles, they become very angry and speak harshly, not gently. They do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They do everything whimsically, according to their own desire, and they do not recognize any authority. These demoniac qualities are taken on by them from the beginning of their bodies, in the womb of their mother. And as they grow, they manifest all these inauspicious qualities. So, in this chapter, in the beginning of this chapter, Prabhupada is listing all the, first started with the divine qualities, and now he's talking about some of the qualities of the demoniac nature, and it, coming from chapter 15, described the upside down banyan tree. And in this chapter, at the beginning of 15, it talks about the intricacies of being entangled in this tree. So you can either cultivate the quality of the demon, which takes you down, or you can cultivate the qualities of the divine, which will take you up and out of this material world. So, and all those qualities, all the daivi sampada, the divine qualities, are listed in this in the beginning of this chapter. So all the previous devotees who read this chapter, they went through all these different divine qualities. And these qualities are cultivated according to one's varna and ashram. And so these demoniac qualities pave the road to hell. So we're trying to get rid of any of the demoniac qualities we may have still lingering on. And I'm sure some of us can, recognize some of these qualities which may sometimes manifest in us, even though we may not want them to. And we're working on, trying to purify them. So, like pride and arrogance and conceit and anger. Sometimes we may get anger. We don't mean to get anger, but we get angry. We don't mean to get angry, but we get angry anyway. So, so this thing about pride, pride is the misconception that we permanently own the things that are temporary in our possession. We have certain talents, we have abilities, we have a position, and we have certain possessions. So all of this is actually our false ego. All of these demoniac qualities are our false ego manifesting itself. Instead of manifesting our real ego, which is not the false ego, but the real ego of understanding that we are just a tiny, tiny, tiny spark, of Krishna, and that our eternal relationship with Krishna is as servants, and that our service is to always try to please Krishna, do what Krishna wishes us to do. And later on, a few verses down in this purport, it said that Arjuna was worried that he possessed some of these demoniac qualities, but Krishna assures him that, no, you are divine. Your qualities are all divine. You don't have the demoniac qualities, because he's a pure devotee. He's a pure devotee. And so this pride can make us think that we are better than others. This pride can make us have a false identification, identify with the false ego. And then we have the arrogance. Darpaḥ, the arrogance. And that means that we are unconscious of our own faults. We always want to point out the faults of others. But it's said that the one finger that's pointing at one person, 3 of them are pointing back at you. You're doing like this, but the 3 of them are pointing back at you. So actually what we think we see in someone else is what's actually in us. What's actually in us, the fault that's in us, the one we're trying to point out with someone else. So we should try to rectify ourselves and not try to rectify someone else. The spiritual master and the authorities are the ones who can help us and point out what we need to improve on if we're willing to hear and accept. But that doesn't mean that we have the ability to criticize someone else or tell them what they need to be doing or how they need to improve themselves, unless we are pure in our intention. What is our intention when we criticize someone? Are we just fault-finding? And we shouldn't fault-find with Vaishnavas. So we need to examine ourselves to see, am I actually wanting the welfare of this particular devotee? Am I actually pure in heart enough to offer something, to this devotee? Sometimes we may get feedback, that we find unpalatable. But if it's coming from our spiritual master, our spiritual mentor, or an authority whom we respect, then we should take it as their intention to help us grow in our spiritual life, to help us improve, and to get rid of some of the anarthas that we don't want. We know we don't want them. That's why we're doing this process while we're chanting, to purify our hearts, to get rid of all the dirt that's inside. And sometimes we also can become harsh with devotees. We want to be gentle. It's just the opposite, in the godly qualities. We're supposed to have krodhaḥ, freedom from anger, even in provocating times, even if someone actually brings us to the level of anger, but anger only elevates the situation. So better we not reply or not engage in, reciprocating that anger, letting that another person's anger have us reciprocate in the same manner. Because I mean, my Gurudevs used to say that what happens is you have two people who are like angry, and both persons are affected. Nobody comes out the winner. You both come out, like scratched up, beat up, and there's no positivity in the exchange. So one person has to either say, okay, I don't want to discuss it right now because I don't want to take it to another level. We can either bring it down or we can take it up. And to be gentle and not to be harsh, we should just try to bring it down, or tell the person, can we talk about it, later, or several days later we can talk about it when we're both calm. Or we can find a third person, who can help us mediate, about what the problem may be. And it's always good also when there's a mediator to hear both sides, of the altercation, whatever that may be. And we see it, in the devotee community. But harsh speech characterizes the ungodly. And gentleness, martyrdom, is a godly quality. So the exalted spiritual teachers, they're usually pretty gentle, and they only use strong language when they feel it's necessary. Only that's the very last step that they take. And also, in terms of what is our motivation, are we trying to be benevolent? Are we trying to help the situation? Are we trying to elevate that devotee? Even though they may be angry, are we trying to help them? Are we helping them, come out of that anger? Are we, trying to help them be, we should all be trying to help one another. That's why we have devotee association. That's why it's very important, because we're supposed to help one another, not bring one another down. And this dambhaḥ, this pride, is that having this pride means that we're projecting some kind of image of ourselves that we want others to think we are. We put on some sort of a front, so we can, project this image to be different than what we are, more smarter, wiser. And again, that's the false ego. Because in this world, everybody wants to be superior to everybody else. That's the problem. They want to compete, they want to be better, and in fact, they want to think that they're God, which is, of course, that's the problem. That's why we're here. That's why we're in this material world, because we wanted to compete with Krishna. And since today is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's, I think it's his appearance day. disappearance or appearance? Appearance Day. Before this class, we were reading the Krishna book, and I thought it would be good to discuss in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita. It describes all the demons killed by Krishna in his pastimes in Vrindavan, and each one is related to an anartha. And we're all here in Vrindavan, and I've heard it said we're sitting in the lap of Krishna. So Krishna certainly is going to purify us and kill all those demons that are within our heart. And so I wanted to talk about some of them and put them some out for you. You can tell me. Maybe, I'm sure a lot of you know. Okay, who does Pṛthā represent? I'm sorry, speak louder. Yes, the false guru. Pṛthā represents the false guru. And if I remember, I think it was Indra who came in different dresses as a sannyas. Was it Indra? Do you remember the pastime?
Yes, I know.
Who was it? Was it Indra? He came in a false dress.
He was, her name was Ratanmala, and he was a devotee's daughter by whom the Lord taken everything in 3 steps.
No, that's Vamana. You're talking about Vamana. And I'm talking about the sacrifice, the fire sacrifice that was being done. And I think, no, it's not Bali Maharaj. And I think it was Indra who kept coming dressed in different dresses of a sannyas every time, because Indra always gets disturbed when he thinks somebody's taking his position or is going to surpass him. So he also created all these false conceptions of sannyas by coming and disrupting, but dressed as a sannyas. Anyway, Pṛthā also. So Sakatasura, and he's the cart demon. And it is said that I found on ISKCON Desire Tree. All these were listed if you want to look them up. But they relate to what we're talking about, some of these anarthas that we want to get rid of, the ones that Krishna's trying to take out of our hearts. And if we're introspective, we know which ones we need to work on. Like I said, we can't just point with someone else to say, well, this person has this fault, this person has that fault, which is our tendency, because we don't want to really look at ourselves and own what we need to work on. So Sakatasura is the cart demon, and he was carrying a cartload of old and new bad habits, and also pride. Pride runs through all of these anarthas. Pride and the false ego run through all these anarthas. And Trinavarta. Who was Trinavarta? Trinavarta. Who was he? Which one was he? It's in the Krishna book. We're all like reading Krishna. We've been reading in the Srimad Bhagavatam about Krishna.
He came in that foremost storm.
He was the whirlwind, right? The one that took Krishna up. He was a whirlwind. And he represents, like false pride. When someone has a good material education or a PhD or whatever initial comes after it, then they have pride. And sometimes even, we think that because we have this, which is a material consideration, we should have some kind of position. I have this PhD. I've been, I had 2 or 3 PhDs, however many. And so that, we call it, you pile it higher and deeper. PhD, you pile it higher and deeper because you think, because you have this material education that, you become prideful and think, well, okay, I have this education, so it makes me better than others, But as we read the scriptures, we know that there are acharyas who never even went to school, who are very, very elevated in spiritual knowledge. So all of that education is just a material consideration. So can someone tell me, I think we just read this one. What about the deliverance of Nalakuvara and Manigriva? Why they were cursed by Narada? And? Yes. 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 But what made them think that they could just be like that? That they didn't have to cover themselves? Why did they think that they could just do whatever they wanted without any consideration for whoever's there? Why did they think? Ignorance, right, and pride, because they were the sons of Kuvera. Yes. Yes. Wealth makes you think that, all these things in the material world, like a good education and wealth, give you a lot of pride, and you think you can do anything. And you can see presently in the material world who's running the world and why is it in such a mess. The wealthy people are running the world, the ones who are collecting all the money. They have made so much money off of this pandemic. More and more money. And the world is getting in a worse situation because of it. So the people who have wealth, and nor do they see it, all they see is the almighty dollar, which gives them the license to do whatever and to harass the citizens of not just of the country, but of the world with no consideration. So this is the demoniac now. This is the demoniac mentality. I can do whatever I want, and I can harass all the citizens of the world. Now it's the world, not just one portion of the world. It's the whole world is being harassed by the demonic mentality of the people who are trying to run the world, who think they're God. So that's why all the citizens are in the shape that they're in, why everything's happening this way. Plus, it's the material world, So the demons are, trying to run everything and collect money and get richer. With money that they can't even spend in this lifetime. There's no way. It's just greed, which is another demoniac quality. It says, Prabhupada says here, they do not know what should be done and what should not be done. They have no spiritual knowledge whatsoever. All their acts are whimsical, and all their acts are just to benefit themselves. And they don't recognize any authority but themselves. And it's said here that these qualities are taken on from the beginning of their bodies. And I was reading that, what's his name? Shrini, the son of Parikshit. No, the son of the Brahmana, Shringi, right? Shringi put the curse on Parikshit, but he was born with, it's said in the Srimad Bhagavatam that he also was born with these demoniac qualities. He had certain demonic qualities, which is why he made the curse on Parikshit without even knowing the full story of what happened. And also this thing with Nalakuvara and Manigriva, they have this prestige. I'm Kuvera's son, and he's very, very rich. They're the son of someone who's rich. And it's said that it's rooted in madness for wealth, for monies. And Agassurah. Who's Agassurah in the Krishna book? Yes, he's the stork demon. Hmm? Yes. So he represents duplicity and deceptiveness. So this also has to do with, pretending to be who we're not, or, being duplicitous in our actions. The devotees are supposed to be straightforward and truthful. These are the godly qualities that we're trying to cultivate. And what about Agassurah? Who's Agassurah? Mm-hmm. He's a snake demon. And he represents a sinful mentality and cruelty and violence, and doing violence to others. So we don't want to do violence to others. We don't even want to, step on an ant. We don't even want to step on an ant, because we are not giving life and we cannot take life. Life is given to these different living entities for them, to pass through whatever form they're in so they can move to the next step. And when we kill any living entity, it means they have to come back to that same body, and they won't be able to move forward. They have to come back to that same body to finish that lifetime. And we're the ones, it's like being kicked out of your apartment before the lease is up. So we should, be very aware of not doing harm to anyone. What to speak of devotees? Being harsh with devotees. And then Dhanukasura. Who is Dhanukasura? Anybody? The ass demon. Yes. And he represents gross materialistic intelligence, ignorance of spiritual knowledge. They have no idea what spiritual knowledge is. And we all know Kaliya. Everybody knows. All of you know Kaliya, I know. Right? You all know who Kaliya is. You all know, right? Kaliya. No, you should know. The Krishna book. Kaliya is the snake who was in the Yamuna river, and Krishna stepped on his hoods. He was dancing on his hoods, right? Kaliya. Did I say Kaliya? I said Kaliya, no? I said Kaliya. So that's also pride, deceit, and cruelty. And what about Pralambasura? Huh? I'm sorry, Hare Krishna? Pralambasura. Pralambasura represents the desire for personal gain and honor. So in this world, as I said before, everybody wants to be recognized for anything that they do. They want to be honored. They want prestige. If we do something and no one says anything about it, and we think, oh, well, I put my all in it, and nobody said anything, nobody, I really worked hard, but nobody recognized it, then we may get disturbed, But actually, we're supposed to be only doing this to please Krishna. And then if Krishna is pleased, then we'll be happy. Our existence as devotees is only to please Krishna, not to please ourselves or to give ourselves sense gratification. It's only to please Krishna. And then this one is when Krishna extinguished the forest fire, and that means this means that there is intercommunal discord amongst the Vaishnavas. I heard someone ask a question. I don't remember if I was listening to a lecture on my phone or if I actually heard someone say it in class. But the question came up is, what is the difference between Gaudiya Math and our Sampradaya? And the answer was, there's not a whole lot of difference, but we should be tolerant of every religion regardless, because Krishna says in the Gita, all are on my path, regardless of how long it takes, which has nothing to do with us. But we should respect anyone who's trying to worship God in whatever name he's called, whether it's Allah, whether it's Jehovah, whether it's Yahweh. We don't have to associate with them closely, but we can respect them because they are on some kind of path towards God. So respecting everyone, respecting all those who are trying to, reach God in whatever way it's been given to them by Krishna, actually, because that's just where they are, then we can just respect them. So this is what it means, when he was extinguished for fire, that it represents the intercommunal discord. And we should, this is for us to make, we used to call it bridge. You bridge any, differences you think there may be, Yes, we have the PhD of religion. We have the PhD of religion. It's very high. It's a very high knowledge. Very intricate, very detailed, very sublime, very blissful. We have the highest knowledge. But still, those who are, in different paths should be respected. I think nowadays they're having all kind of different interfaith discussions. But we should just make bridges without losing our own connection to Krishna consciousness. So I think, before I finish, I wanted to So we're all in this process of Krishna consciousness to help purify our hearts. We want to get rid of our anarthas so we can go back home, back to Godhead where we belong. And Krishna is waiting for us to do that, to come home to him. And at the end of this, that I had taken from ISKCON Desire Tree, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says at the end of this, in his book, He said the devotee who worships the holy name should first petition the Lord for the strength to cast out all these unfavorable tendencies, all the unfavorable things we have in our hearts, all the unfavorable anarthas that we want to get rid of. We should take it before the Lord. We want to cast them out. And we should pray before Lord Hari on a daily basis. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. We should pray to the Lord on a daily basis. By doing this regularly, the devotee's heart will eventually become purified. Sri Krishna has killed a number of demons which may arise in the kingdom of our hearts. So in order to destroy these problems, a devotee must cry very humbly before the Lord and admit defeat. We admit defeat before the Lord. Yes, I'm defeated. I surrender to you. I bow my head at your lotus feet. Then the Lord will nullify all our contaminations. So this was said by Bhaktivinoda Thakur after he listed all of these demoniac tendencies and the demons that Krishna. So we can expect that because we're here in Vrindavan, we're going to get purified. And if we can pray before the Lord, and we know ourselves what are our anarthas, we know what they are. If we're honest, we know. I'm like this, sometimes I get angry, I don't want to get angry. I'm envious. Whatever it is, we just take it before Krishna and pray to him for help. Sincerely, that I want to grow, I want to develop in my Krishna consciousness, I want to get rid of these anarthas because they're very ugly. So this is the advice of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Just go before the Lord and sincerely pray so he can help us purify our hearts and go back home, back to Godhead. So I'll open it up. There's a few minutes for questions or comments or corrections or whatever you'd like to offer. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
You mentioned that killing the ant, she has to come back in that body again.
Yes.
So similar way, the persons who are killed, they have to come in the same body again.
The
Persons who are killed.
Who are killed?
The persons who are killed, they have to come in the same body again.
You mean like if the ant is killed, he comes back in the same body? Yes.
Somebody kills him, so he has to come in the same body again.
You mean if you killed if a human being kills another human being?
Yeah, so this human being is being killed by me, so he has to come back again in the same body.
That's a good question. Oh, if you person killed.
Let's come again.
He has to come in the same body or he has to go in different body?
Well, I don't know the answer to that actually. I'm thinking that it depends on his karma. If he comes back in the same body, human.
His life is still there, but I am killing him.
Uh-huh.
So he has to come in that same body, just like I am killing the ant has to come in the same body. So similarly, if I kill a human being, so he has to come in the same body, or he has to take a different body.
I won't speculate, but I'm offering that because he's in a human body, he's already, in a human body, so he should come back in a human body. It depends on his karma. I don't know if he degrades, if he goes down or not. I don't know.
No, his life is there.
I mean, the only thing I've seen is, that famous drawing of a man killing a cow. And so if he kills the cow, it means that the cow becomes a human in his next life, and he kills that person who becomes a cow. But I don't know the answer to your question.
So the cow has to become a man then to kill that person.
Yes.
Now suppose I am killing this person, so he has
But I said I'm not sure. I don't want to speculate.
But the example you're giving about
Was the ant, yes,
that
yes.
ant has to come in the same
Same body to start again.
So similar way, any person is killed, he has to come in same body or he has to take different.
I don't know of the human body. I don't know if it has to do with his karma or your karma of why you killed him. I don't know the intricacies of the relationship between the two persons who had that interaction. I don't know the karma.
How do you know about the ant?
Because it's in the scriptures. I'm just repeating the scriptures, what Prabhupada said.
I think he will come and revenge you. He will take revenge.
You don't think what is the Shastra you speak that?
Yeah, I can only speak Shastra. I don't want to speculate. It's not good. Any other question?
Hare Krishna.
Hey, Bo.
So Srila Prabhupada translated until 13 chapters in that temple. So just now you read Jaiva Dharma of Pṛthā. So he's representing.
No, it's not Jaiva Dharma. It's Sri Chaitanya's Shikshamritam.
Okay,
Yeah.
so different demons representing different.
Yes, yes.
So how can we understand that why Prabhupada did mention this particular thing from Bhaktivinoda Thakur?
Why he didn't mention it?
Mention in his purports about different anarthas being represented by different.
He may have. I can't say whether Prabhupada mentioned it or not, but I've been hearing about it almost since the first time I came into Krishna consciousness. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's one of our acharyas. You know, so that's why I'm repeating it. And today, I repeated it because today is his appearance day. So I wanted to offer that. But this subject matter of the demons and what they represent has been discussed in ISKCON. That's how I heard about it. But I haven't read every one of Srila Prabhupada's books, so I can't say that they're not in the books. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you.